Hi, I'm Boyd Hilton from Heat magazine. I'm here to discuss the British Academy Television Award nominations that have just been announced for 2015. I've got a delightful panel of what can only be described as expert TV critic type people. I've got Matt Risley here from MTV, Sharon Marshall from This Morning, legend, Richard Vine from The Guardian, and Alexia Skinitis from Her Majesty's Radio Times. Now, what do we think? So I guess, should we start with, overall there's like big nominations for certain things. For example, there's a load of dramas that are kind of vying for the big categories. Happy Valley, Marvellous, The Missing, and Line of Duty have all got 3 nominations each. Has anyone got any kind of favourites among those? I mean, it's been a strong year for TV dramas,
I
hasn't it?
just sat on the nominations going, oh, I love that, I love that, I love that. It's going to be a hard one, isn't it? I mean, The Missing was fantastic, although a lot of people said they didn't like the ending. Is that going to count against it on a panel? Of course, we loved a bit of Scylla. Who can't love a bit of Scylla? It would be lovely to see Sheridan get the award there. But no, it's a good lineup, isn't it?
Strong year, Matt, do you think?
Yeah, it's quite a harrowing year.
Yeah.
But in general, I think kind of, yeah, you look at Line of Duty, you look at Happy Valley, and I think both of those are very strong contenders going into this, so it's no surprise.
But I'd like to see Scylla win. A bit of sunshine amidst all the serious, hardcore drama.
Yeah, there's a lot of crime, there's a lot of death and murder going on, isn't there, Richard?
Yeah. There is. I mean, I thought Line of Duty, I was very taken with the first series. I thought the second was brilliant. Keeley Hawes really did it for me this year.
Okay, cool.
Well, did a really good job of kind of reinventing it with a new lead. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. It was a really interesting way to kind of mix up a crime procedural again.
And let's look at the acting nominations, actually, to start with. Benedict Cumberbatch, of course, has the biggest star in the world, back for Sherlock, versus Toby Jones for Marvellous, which was that one-off, absolutely brilliant one-off on BBC Two, James Nesbitt for The Missing, and Jason Watkins for The Lost Honour of Christopher Jeffries. And then in the actress category, you've got absolute newcomer Georgina Campbell, who was in BBC Three's Murdered by My Boyfriend, which was a one-off, versus these 3 kind of legends, really. Keeley Hawes for Line of Duty, Sarah Lancashire for Happy Valley, and Sheridan Smith for Scylla. Where are we feeling? I mean, let's look at the actress category first. Georgina's up against a lot of big names there, isn't she?
That's a tough category to be in.
Yeah.
And it's hard because Sheridan Smith and Sarah Lancashire were so brilliant. But I think Sheridan Smith pipped it for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Sharon, who do you think is the favourites in that category?
Well, Sarah Lancashire, even though it was very harrowing, Happy Valley, you got rape, you got abduction, she made it so uplifting and so beautiful that you actually ended the series with this sort of feeling of that was so beautiful. And I think a lot of that is down to Sarah Lancashire's character that had so much heart, and you just loved her. So whilst I loved a little bit of Scylla, I think for me, I'm going to have to go.
You should have done it.
I'm going to go for, I think I have to go for Lovely Sarah on that one.
I was going to say, Keeley Hawes, it's her first time she's been nominated, which could kind of actually pay in her favour.
And that was a phenomenal kind of almost career-changing performance for me, wasn't it? Because she was playing this kind of really interesting, slightly horrible character.
Yeah, she's very unlikable to start with, and then she, you know, the story allowed her to have depth and kind of move, and you weren't sure where she was going. You know, I mean, I just didn't know what I felt about, you know, if she was guilty or not, right to the end. And I think that's a very hard thing to pull off.
Can you call that category? Do you think it's between maybe Keeley versus Sarah versus Sheridan, or do you think Georgina Campbell was fantastic in that one-off genre as well?
She did rub it in the last awards ceremony. Of course, it went to her, didn't it? She has one before, so who knows?
It's tough. I think we're agreed. That is really difficult to call.
Yeah.
Actor is kind of just really diverse, isn't it? So Benedict has to be nominated.
It's the law.
It's the law. Quite right. Toby Jones was astonishing in that one-off, and then you've got James Nesbitt in 8 episodes of The Missing. I think his again like a. He was so good in that, wasn't he? Kind of his most powerful performance, I think, ever. And Jason Watkins, again, very powerful, playing a real-life person going through a nightmarish situation. Sharon, any favourites there?
Jason Watkins just was the character.
Yeah.
You felt like you were immersed in it. You felt like you were there. James Nesbitt just had me gripped. That harrowing performance, it was just the desperation, and you just almost saw him age. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. But I loved Marvellous. I think Marvellous was the most beautiful thing I saw all year. And when I saw Toby Jones in my local pub, I did fangirl all over him and say, I really hope you win a BAFTA. This man will win a BAFTA. So I hope that was right.
I totally agree. I think Marvellous was one of the best things I watched last year. It was so charming. And anyone who watched it just fell in love with his character and him, and he deserves to, I think, stand out in that.
And Neil Baldwin at the BAFTAs.
Yeah.
That's what we want to see. We'll be friends with everybody.
Exactly. Shaking hands with everyone.
He was the person the real person that the drama was based on.
Yeah. And of course played a cameo role.
He's just the most endearing real-life character who's kind of met everybody and loves everyone. And It was such a charming story.
It was charming, it was sweet, and it was
Yeah.
simple, as opposed to these huge sort of dramatic things. It was just, here's a really lovely, simple love story of someone that he'd obviously met and been fascinated. I thought the writing was beautiful on it as well.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think kind of Toby Jones as well, love him to bits, and he doesn't really get enough credit for just being universally great in everything.
Yeah, he's
he
always
does.
So kind of invisible, isn't
Yeah.
it? You don't think, oh, that's Toby Jones. You just, wow, this is a great story. This is a great drama.
Absolutely. Should we look at the entertainment categories as well? There's some very interesting nominations in those. I'm particularly drawn to the fact that the great Claudia Winkleman, who had a high-pressure job taking it from Bruce Forsyth on Strictly, has been nominated to her first ever BAFTA. That's pretty exciting, isn't it, Sharon?
It's brilliant, and she reinvented that show. Like you say, a lot of it was suddenly two women. Bruce is a legend. Bruce can stay in that job for as long as he wants, but for me, it completely revitalised it. It made it fresh, and that's hard to do with a show that's been going for so many years. I'm torn, because Lee Francis will give the best acceptance speech, of course, on the night.
He's been nominated for Celeb Juice,
Yes, Graham Norton, of course, is hosting, so you kind of want to see him get it. Anton Deck, of course, are massively overlooked and don't win enough, in my opinion.
No, they never get awards, do they?
And they never
Yeah,
put
it's
it
such a
wrong.
shame. Poor Anton Deck.
Yeah.
But I would love to see Claudia Winkleman
I think my heart
win.
belongs for the girls there.
Yeah.
Claudia,
Not to be stats guy as well, but apparently it's her first ever BAFTA nomination as well.
Go, Claudia.
I like the fact
She
that you're on the
deserves that,
stats. There we go. Talking of which, The Voice has picked up its first nomination in the entertainment program category. That's interesting, perhaps controversial. No nomination for X Factor or Britain's Got Talent, but The Voice makes it, and that's up against Saturday Night Takeaway, Dynamo, Magician Impossible, and Strictly. What do you reckon, Sharon?
I'm going to go Strictly.
Oh, yeah?
On that, I was a Strictly fan. I think it's the sequins that get me. I think it's difficult to keep revitalising an old show. And I know they have the different intake of celebrities each time, but it felt fresh and new, and I'm watching something different. And I think the whole production, as well as the presenting team, is always superb.
And it's always really scary if you're going to take away the main host, who's kind of the linchpin of a show, for it to continue and to actually do even better than it did the year before without him is quite a credit to the whole team and to the fact that they chose Claudia to step in.
Are you surprised to see The Voice nominated, Matt?
I was going to say, like, what's everyone feel about that? Because I think, you know, I like this year. I probably enjoyed The Voice more than I've enjoyed it before.
Right.
But compared to X Factor, do you think it trumps that?
I did love Kylie.
Yeah.
It was Kylie's year. I
Yes.
actually think I preferred Kylie to Jessie J and to Rita.
Yeah.
So for that, possibly.
Maybe
but
Kylie was the deciding factor.
I mean, she was the big signing. That was the most exciting thing about that series. But
How about, there's a big story in soap, Sharon. You are our resident soap expert, I think it's fair to say. And Hollyoaks has got its first ever BAFTA nomination.
Thrilled. It's first since 2003.
Can you explain why?
Yes. Yes, because everyone sees this as, it's always like the other one. Everyone always says the big three, EastEnders, Corrie, Emmerdale. Hollyoaks is hitting first on everything. They've got the HIV storyline, the first time we had a gay character with HIV. They do incest with twins, no problem. It's absolutely fine. They've done a beautiful storyline about abuse, which has been written so wonderfully, and I think it's resonating with the young audience. But I think it is bold, I think it takes risks, and it just twists and turns, and they have great hair and great shoes.
Well, I'm won over by the hair and
you
shoes.
can't say that for EastEnders, can you?
No.
I'm really disappointed though that Emmerdale isn't there, because I
that's
think it's had
interesting,
a sterling year. Although I kind of understand Casualty has been winning a lot of awards, it has had a fantastic year, but I always get a little bit heartbroken when, the Dales should be there. It's
so the
always
nominees are
brilliant.
Casualty, Corrie, EastEnders and Hollyoaks.
Yes.
What do you reckon? Do you think EastEnders must be the favourite? I'm saying,
Yeah, I think the introduction of the Carters was genius. It was a big risk, putting them right in the middle of the square, and actually it massively paid off because people absolutely love them.
It's been revitalised.
Yeah.
It's like a new show, and I think it's like this glorious resurgence. And of course, it's been heading towards its big anniversary. But this is over the whole of last year, when putting a new family in the heart of the show and taking so many risks. And then of course the Ian Beale storyline as well, taking a year
and
to do a
they planted
storyline.
all those seeds last year that kind of took slowly. Kind of developed
that was
into
an
this year's
epic story.
I
Yeah,
worked there and I still didn't know we'd killed her.
nobody got it right. So.
Matt, do you have any strong soap feelings?
I was going to say, not to be blasphemous,
Go
I'm
on.
not a massive soap fan.
Oh, that's fine.
However, I did like that EastEnders kind of Who Killed Lucy Beale. That was event TV. I sat there, I watched live episodes. I was kind of with that, and that says a lot for someone who doesn't watch these shows to be gripped by that. So.
Talking of event TV, the international category is interesting, I think, this year, because you've got two Netflix shows, House of Cards and Orange is the New Black, taking on True Detective And my favourite, which is The Good Wife.
Oh,
what do you reckon, Richard? What do you think on this?
I think it's a really fascinating category because I think you've got True Detective, which is such a big, showy HBO classic kind of massive stars. They've drawn cinema quality stars to TV. That big thing. Really dark story, very, very well done, high production values. Orange is the New Black, I loved it. It's a very dark series for the second. It wasn't funny at all. It's just very sad, moving, kind of very heartbreaking, but a huge, very interesting cast. House of Cards, I thought. Second series, I found it much less Moorish than the first one. I didn't rush to watch the next one, and I slightly got bogged down in the kind of American politics of it, and I didn't quite know what a caucus was, and I wasn't quite sure.
What caucus was?
Well, I had to look it up.
You're feeling all now.
But The Good Wife, I mean, that surely is this kind of rebirth of American network television, like pulling off an amazing series in its 5th series, and it just gets better and better, and it's so kind of gripping, and she's brilliant, and relevant modern storylines.
Matt, you're a bit gutted about Game of Thrones, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm so sad. Game of Thrones, that has incest, that has dragons.
But we must mention Alexia, it has been nominated for the Radio Times Audience Award.
It has been nominated for the Audience Award, alongside pretty much all the things we've discussed so far, so it's a tight category.
It's a tight category.
But in international, I think it would be really great for The Good Wife not to be overlooked in such a kind of... All the rest are really talking point programmes, whereas The Good Wife is just steadily brilliant, and it would be great for it to be recognised.
We're running out of time, so is there, in summing up, is there anything you really desperately want to win? What's the thing you want to see win an award? I'll go around. Matt, what do you reckon?
Game of Thrones Radio Times Award.
Okay. Sharon?
I would like to see EastEnders certainly winning the Audience Award. I think it deserves something. Get them on the stage for something.
Okay. Richard?
Line of Duty and Good Wife.
And Alexia?
Ooh, Toby Jones and Claudia.
Okay. Well, I'd like to see Line of Duty win, definitely, and The Good Wife, I think. And so we should say the actual awards are taking place on Sunday, the 10th of May, 2015, at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane. They'll be on BBC One. Graham Norton's hosting, as we've said, and we'll all be desperately fascinated to see who actually wins. Thanks very much to everyone. It's been brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.